Wow, this is incredible. So when you pulled these out of the safe, were you at first thinking, okay, these got to be valuable, or were you just completely...
He didn't really care what the value was. To him, it was the collection. John never wanted to sell his cards. Like, he said, you can sell them when I'm dead, or you can bury them with me, but you're not selling my cards.
I think this summarizes John better than anything else. He puts his own driver's license in sleeves.
I told you not to look at those.
The history of sports cards goes back over 100 years. We are on the pursuit to find the biggest and most interesting sports card collections across the United States. Join us as we travel the large interstates and the narrow unpaved roads in our journey to continue chasing cardboard.
All right, so we are here out in the DC area, just popped into Fairfax to grab a coffee, but we got a great lead on collection out west in West Virginia that we're gonna go explore tomorrow. It has the potential of being something pretty special on the vintage side of the world. So really excited to be here. It's a beautiful time of year to be in this area, so let's go explore. We're going to the farmer's market, why not, right? We're here, farmer's market, we can grab some fresh produce to make ourselves some dinner tonight. Okay, so it's early morning here, Berkeley Springs. We just had a great breakfast, grabbed a coffee at the Fairfax coffee shop. We're just kind of walking around, checking out coffee shops and antique stores and really killing some time because we're gonna pick up Mike here in a little bit. He's over at the Chantilly Sports Card Show, and then we're gonna head out to see a collection this evening. So hopefully you like the vibe here at Berkeley Springs, we really do. So this is George Washington's bathtub. There's little fishies swimming around there. Probably whole families of fish that have been around since late 1700s. It's good enough for George Washington, it's good enough for us. So this is spring water right from the mineral spring underneath us, and if you kind of walk around you see all the little inlets of the water coming in. Yeah, the Berkeley Springs website, it'll tell you like, hey, city water, you can come fill up your jugs here. And we've just sat here for 5 minutes and we've seen people walk up with 5-gallon jugs, gallon jugs, just filling it up for their house. Pretty cool. This spring is pumping in 1,000 gallons a minute. That's an insane amount of capacity this spring is pumping in. Pretty cool. So we're in Berkeley Springs. We're killing some time. It's like a Hallmark city. Everything you see around here seems fake, including this mall. But we haven't seen any sports cards yet. We're gonna keep hunting. Here we go, Robert Griffin III. Makes sense, we're up in Washington. If you don't follow him on Twitter, well worth the follow. He's actually, he's pretty entertaining. More popular now on social media than he was when he was playing. So we're digging through some Life magazines here. This is just totally obscure. But I thought it'd be cool to, I should probably look up and see what Life magazines are popular in the sports world. Marilyn Monroe, 1952, mint condition. Queen Elizabeth, 1953, extremely rare. Hairstyles, poodle versus the horsetail. Which one do you like? All right, so April 13th, 1962. This is the one that has the mantle and the Roger Maris in it. 62, April 13th. All right, so we couldn't find the mantle, the Maris. We couldn't find the Queen Elizabeth. We found the Monroe, but I don't know, 60 bucks. I'm not interested. Put that back. You know, but I might grab a parting gift for Mike. See if I can find his birth year. What year was that? Was it 40, 46? Okay, so we're headed back to Winchester, Virginia to grab Mike. Mike's actually being dropped off at Collectible Kings. We're gonna meet halfway and bring him back to Berkeley Springs. We're gonna actually go to see the collection tonight from Harlan. John, somebody who passed away, left a collection to Harlan, and we're gonna see that tonight. So we're bringing Mike back to do some prepping. What's up?
What's up, man?
Long time no see.
I know.
Need to grab some supplies.
All right.
All that?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, balancing act.
Got all your cardboard?
Got it all.
All right, man.
PJ, seriously,
Awesome.
man, thank you so much. Check them out,
See ya.
Collectible Kings, PJ.
All right.
Got some good stuff going here.
Back on the East Coast, come see us.
That's right. See ya. How's it going?
What's up?
Thanks for making the drive.
Danny Black, friend of mine, friend of the show, and his son Connor. Connor, you want to say hi?
What's up, Connor? How was the show today?
Good, very good show.
Best card you pulled? Or I guess you probably bought some cards, right?
PSA 10 Rainbow Charizard V-Max.
Bam.
I don't even know what you just said, but it sounds really good.
Hey, thanks, man.
Chantilly was awesome.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Thanks for the drive.
Thanks, brother. Hey, I'll talk to y'all later. Looks like you got some supplies. Are we going to see some cards?
I sure hope so.
I sure hope so, too.
All right, we are 4 minutes away from Harlan
Nice.
and his whole crew. It's taking us the back road here.
I like the back roads. This is gorgeous.
We've seen so many good cards, I almost feel like maybe the eye appeal was texted to us and shown to us, and maybe the rest of it's not as good. There's no way it can be as good as what he sent us. There's just no way. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm preparing to be kind of like, let's level set and lower expectations really quickly.
It's fun to see this and come to a different part of the country that we don't get to go to very often.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been really cool so far. It should be up on the right, 228. How come I'm always the navigator? What is that all about?
You're the Robin.
To your Batman. I see. Great. Robin it is. You ready to roll?
Excited.
I am too. It's gonna be good.
Harlan, what's going on, man?
Nice to meet you, Ty.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
This
Mike.
is Mike.
Nice to meet you, Harlan.
Awesome. I know you guys. I see you all the time. I watch you. You don't watch me.
Well, awesome. Thanks.
All right, cards are in here.
Mantle and Ruth?
Mantle and Ruth, yeah.
And Satchel Paige?
We got them
And
all.
Garrett. Oh goodness, we're about to have some fun. All right.
Yeah.
Are we sitting down? Are we going through these?
Yeah, we're
already.
Let's go through it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so going through these.
These are the kind of the better stuff. This is the stuff he kept in the safe. That mantle's not just the exhibit there.
This one.
Oh, this one. Oh, I
This
thought-
is the Ruth. This
Oh,
is
that's
the
the Ruth.
postcard,
Yeah.
So this is the dad's cookie mantle. Look at those two together.
Which these are, there's usually a staple on these, right? You were
They were
talking
all
about this
stapled.
one.
There's one right down here. These were stapled to the cookie bag or whatever.
Yeah. They were a Canada issue somewhere in Northwest Canada or something.
So I get an email from Harlan a number of weeks ago reaching out saying he had watched the show. He had a situation where his father-in-law had passed away. He needed some help trying to figure out what all he had, what he should do with it, how he should take care of liquidating it and getting rid of it to help out his mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Limited number of these, but they actually meant that back then.
When we pulled those out, I just thought it was an exhibit card. Didn't think much of it, and my wife turned it over and she's like, "What is all this?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Because exhibits are normally blank back, right?
Correct. Yeah. And I don't know if they bought exhibits and then printed those, or if they had them printed and redone. I don't know how that issue went.
Probably just a licensing thing,
Probably.
honestly. There's a Jackie 48 leaf.
49.
Thank you.
It's a good thing we have the vintage expert here with us.
No, he
You know, we came in here thinking we're gonna be doing a lot of educating, and we did a little educating, but Harlan had his ducks in a row. Not only had he researched cards and the process, he had values kind of in the back of his mind. He was naming off cards that we had to look up. And there was a couple moments there where Harlan corrected Mike. I'm gonna be honest, that gives me a lot of joy.
I learned it all from you though, Mike.
Yeah.
Wow, this is incredible. So when you pulled these out of the safe, were you at first thinking, okay, these got to be valuable, or were you just completely
Obviously,
ignorant to it at the point?
I knew they had some value. He was aware that they had some value. But the values changed obviously a lot in the last few years. He didn't really care what the value was. To him, it was the collection, and it was.
Yeah, and he was trying to get types. Like they weren't, I mean, obviously these conditions aren't wonderful, but he didn't care probably.
He did not care. The condition was never an issue for him. It was having the card.
You know what that is?
Comes out of a cigarette?
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It was
I would
probably just
assume
an
it's full
advertisement you would get from buying a pack of cigarettes or a carton or something like that. Super cool, Jackie.
I mean, I've looked it all up. I've watched you guys on YouTube a million times, trying to figure all this stuff out.
Oh, mama.
Whoa.
Mama mia. CBS. You watched the game on CBS?
Yeah, there's a couple of them marked that way. I don't know if somebody was marking their cards, you know.
So, most of the Hall of Famers have multiple T206 cards. They'll have a portrait, right? And then some type of quote-unquote action shot. Right. And this is Cy Young. They call it bare hand shows because it's bare hand shows.
I think the portrait is in here as well.
And the portraits are more sought after by a lot of people. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
So so you got 2 Cy Youngs, portrait, action. Old Mill, I think, is a common back. So T206 is...
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that's their thing.
You got some Ginters here, though.
Oh, yeah, they're nice. I like those a lot.
Yep, there's some.
I think there's...
John Clarkson, Hall of Famer. John Montgomery Ward, Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Those are both Hall of Famers.
That's gold coin, or old gold coin, something like that. There should be a couple more.
Dude, I'm going to call... Oh, my gosh, I got people to... Harlan.
Yeah.
Look at that guy. This guy's name was Frank Baker. You know what his nickname was?
Nope.
Home Run.
Home Run.
Frank Home Run Baker.
Really?
And the most home runs he ever hit in a season was like 12 or something. Because in the dead ball era, they just didn't hit a whole lot of home runs. Right. He actually played with Ruth at the Yankees, I think.
Okay.
Got to look that up. But
it's been great watching Mike and Ty's enthusiasm for the cards and just kind of geeking out over the cards. And Mike sitting down with my kids last night and telling them all the stories about the cards and why this one is worth this and this one's only worth that, even though they're cards right next to each other. Just going through the Hall of Famers and everything. But it's been wonderful.
Joe Tinker, oh my gosh.
So who did John collect? I mean, who was his guy?
Yeah.
Infatuated with all of it.
Just cards. So his collection is a lot of unique type cards and things like that.
If he saw something I've never seen before, he's like, yep, dig it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He would, we go to shows and he would go walk the show prior to it opening, and just anything he'd never seen or something that he thought was rare or unique or interesting, he just bought it.
Sorry, I'm trying to listen and not get too excited. I'm just flipping through like 5 Babe Ruths and then multiple T205, T206 Ty Cobbs.
The Tharp's Ice Cream, Ty Cobb, and Babe Ruth are in there, and all ungraded because he thought grading was dumb.
How come you're getting all the good stuff first? I don't understand how this is
crazy.
working. How is this working?
Oh, that's not good stuff?
Yeah.
No, okay,
Come on
fair
now.
enough. Touche.
John had an incredible eye for collecting. You could tell he was just one of those guys who knew what was cool. It's awesome to see that. This is mind-blowing. It almost is surreal.
Really?
It really is. Like you see all this stuff all the time, but not all together in one big box.
So John never wanted to sell his cards. Like he said, you can sell them when I'm dead, or you can bury them with me, but you're not selling my cards. And then he found out he had cancer, and he sat us all down. He's like, hey, while I'm still here and still able, we're gonna sell some of the stuff. We're gonna get it ready. At least you'll have my knowledge. You'll know what everything is. And then a week and a half later, he just got so bad that he couldn't get out of bed. He'd had skin cancer a few years ago, and they didn't know it at the time, but it had metastasized and got into his lungs. He wasn't a smoker or anything like that, but lung cancer was what ultimately killed him. But he was bound and determined to never sell the cards. Like, they were his cards. He understood that, they were an investment for his kids, grandkids, whatever. He's fine with it now, I'm sure. But he never talked about selling them while he was alive until a few weeks before. He would take us to the basement. I'd been down there a few times. He'd open up the safe and he'd pull them out, and he would say, this is a Turkey Red, a T3, these are 19, whatever. And he would talk about all the players, Tinker, Everchance, and all the poem and all that kind of stuff. So he would impart some of that knowledge through the cards. I think he knew what everything was. Like, he knew it was a T207, brown back, or whatever. He could have told you every card, but I don't think he had any idea what the current kind of market was for those cards. Because when he collected them, they were inexpensive. We saw Babe Ruth cards with $85 written on the price tag, you know.
So when he said that, and he said, you can sell this potentially, what did you think? I'm not selling it? Or was it like, you know what, I think we have to sell it, and why?
It wasn't about that. The money wasn't the thing for him. Like, you know, you see these cards, some of them are really rough. It was about having the card, about the collection. He liked the story of the collection. He liked telling where he was and who he was with and how he got it and how he, you know, got a deal or whatever. There was always that part of it. And oh, by the way, here's, you know, the 52 Mickey Mantle. So it wasn't the collection here, it was the collecting. It was actually going out and acquiring the thing, going to the shows, going to the flea markets, yard sales.
I remember we used to go to yard sales all the time, and Slurpee discs were really big at the time. Pretty sure we drank enough sugar that summer to fuel some bad health habits. We would go from one end of town and have a Slurpee and drive to the other end of town and have another one. And he was...
Just so he could have those.
So he said Slurpee, yeah. Yeah.
He would have my grandma sit the night before and go through the newspaper, and she would have a paper tablet, and it would have the addresses of everything that we had to go to. Like, there was the go-to stops, and we always had a lunch break, and then we went right back out to yard sailing after the lunch break.
Her dad was always a collector from an early age. He got it honestly from his grandparents and great-grandparents. Collected a little bit of everything.
Well, and I think one of my best memories is that we were always kind of a part of Dad's collections, because we went to yard sales and ball shows and train shows.
Like one time, I want to tell a story. We were at Ollie's in the middle of yard sailing, and he saw the big bobblehead of the Ollie guy and said, "I want to buy that. Can I buy that?" And the people working there said, no, it wasn't for sale. It was like a little thing that they had out, like advertised their store. And he tried to buy it because it was a bobblehead. He liked bobbleheads. He liked everything.
I think I would have loved John so much. Like, he and I would have gotten along really well.
No doubt. And I think he would have loved your show. Like, he would have loved Chasing Cardboard. He'd been a big fan of watching it, and you guys coming in here and sitting down and talking to him about his cards, he'd have loved that too. He might not let you get out the door with any of them.
It would have been off the table.
It would have been a little different stories, but you know, but he would have had those stories of where he got the cards and how he collected it, and you know, when it was or whatever.
Really, one of the most impressive things about this entire experience here in West Virginia was Harlan, and he had a challenge here to try to make this the best that he can for his mother-in-law. And he really went out of his way to learn information, to go search out and learn about this stuff. And he's really got a pretty good bank of knowledge that he's acquired over the last few months dealing with this. Really honored that he called us to want to help him. And he's just a great guy and an asset to this family.
Harlan, what's your favorite memory that he brings up, or maybe you have?
There's a lot, because he and I did a lot together. We did a lot of train shows. We would spend a few days up there, and the memory was the dinner after the show with all of his dealer friends, and we'd go to like all-you-can-eat crabs or whatever and just eat until you were sick, and they would sit there and just talk and how they had saw this or how they had got that. He treated me like I was his son. There's no doubt about it. Like, he, from the time I started dating his daughter through the end of his life, he treated me like I was his son.
Kate called me the other day and said, "Do you have that picture of Dad, or us laying on the floor with Dad?" He would have these concerts. We had one of those old console record players, the big old, came in the giant wooden box, and he would get his records out, and we'd lay on the floor and listen to records.
Well, my 16th birthday, my birthday's in February, so on my 16th birthday we had a huge blizzard, and I couldn't go out, couldn't go anywhere, so I just cried and cried, but he had a big concert, like Sarah mentioned, complete with the 16 Candles song and everything like that, and it
and always ended with "Stand by Your Man."
Yeah, that was the ending song. So
yeah.
You know, he did all he could to try to make that day a memorable one, and I still think about it all the time. So
Okay, we're going through binders in here. They're in there still going through the, A-list stuff, and we're going through the B-list stuff, which is just binders of just crazy good cars. Pages and pages of 51, 52 Bowman. There's 73 tops. So check this out, post-serial baseball. And he's got the whole set, and the mantle is right there, and it looks great. So back when Post put these out, they were really just trying to help sell baseball cards, and Mickey Mantle even did a commercial for Post. It's pretty crazy.
Hey Johnny, Post cereals have free baseball trading cards. Free baseball cards? Yeah, one on the packages. Here's Post alphabet. And there are also on 9 other Post cereals. You just cut them out of the back. Hey, you've got 6 different cards on alphabet. And here's Mickey Mantle. He's my favorite. Why? He can really shag those flies.
Well, kids, baseball season's here again. And with Post Cereal's baseball trading cards, you can get a rundown on all your favorite players.
Out here, this was full, and we've gone through. We have, there's 3 shelves, and these are like the Topps coins, 64, 71 Slurpee discs, random baseball, football, basketball.
Were they always stored out here in this, or
these were all stored out, always stored out here in the garage.
Oh my goodness!
So I assume that's like the full 1980 set, 81, 82, 83, and these are all binders full of stuff. Desert Shield cards.
Oh yeah, Chipper in there.
Chipper's in there.
Nolan, Griffey.
Nolan's in there. I think Nolan's the first card. So.
Yep. There's the Griffey.
Oh yeah, there's Griffey.
Desert Shield. These were sent to the military and were really hard to find, and if you did find them, most of the time not in great condition, so these are highly sought after.
But all of his sets are in these drawers. So this is the 76 Topps, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81.
It's all baseball.
All baseball. This is all baseball. Yeah, so I think this is a factory set of $86. And some of this stuff is just randomness.
Total randomness, yeah. My goodness, okay. Well, you know what? This is actually more organized than I expected.
We spent a lot of time getting it together.
Did you?
For you
okay.
guys. Yeah, we did.
Well, I'm impressed. Oh my goodness.
Country Gold. Yeah! Just WCW wax, Bass Pro League.
That's hot, man.
There's a Cyndi Lauper, that era. They produced it. There's Duran Duran wax in there, and Madonna, Michael Jackson. They produced anything. Topps would put their name on anything.
Gosh.
These cards are being stored, and they're going to bring somebody else the thrill of the hunt to be able to have them. And some of them haven't really been seen that often. Some of them are pretty rare. So I guess I've kind of tried to outweigh that with, the wanting to keep it, that it's going to bring others joy now that they'll get to share in it.
And I think Dad would like that too.
So we see all ends of the spectrum with people. Like collections from guys who are hermits. They go in their room and they never talk about their cards.
Right.
And then I think the opposite end is John, where this is like a conversation piece for him.
It is, yeah. And he had friends in the hobby. He had a lot of friends in the hobby who he would talk to about cards. Some guy would get out of it and he would buy a bunch of their cards, and they kind of went back and forth for a while. But yeah, it was always about the connections with the other dealers and the other collectors.
I mean, I'm gonna have to literally pick up Mike and take him to the car. Can you give us the night to think through everything that we see?
For sure. Come back tomorrow.
You gonna be here all day?
All day. Whatever you need. I'm here for it.
Okay, let's do it tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right. Incredible. I mean, what a family to hang out with and spend the evening with. I mean, like you said, they laid the red carpet out for us.
And we got to see this just absolutely insane collection that John had worked so long to collect and curate, and it's just so cool.
So we're coming back tomorrow. We're not quite sure what we're gonna do yet. We have a lot to digest tonight. I mean,
we do. We'll be up late talking tonight, and that's good. And I think they are just so excited to see the next step of this collection and what it could be. And so we want to do a really good job for them, making sure we take care of it.
Mike and I left both starstruck and anxious because we have to figure out how or if we can even make this deal work with Harlan and family. Now, we've seen some crazy collections. You've been on those journeys with us, but never before have we seen so many heavy hitters on one table. So we're headed back to crunch numbers and game plan on how we can close this deal.
All right, so it's late night here, Sunday. We just spent 5 hours, maybe longer, with Harlan and family. Where do you sit with things? Kind of what's your...
I feel like it's an amazing group of cards, right? We got to make the math work.
What's the holdup for you on the math? What do you think the biggest variable?
Grading costs.
Maybe we buy it. Probably not buy it. We actually think he wants to consign. We would love to buy it, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
And I think we could maybe come up with a number that would make sense to him, but I think he actually and the family wants us to consign it for him.
Yeah. Either you own it and you grade it and sell it, or you consign it, grade it and sell it. So work-wise, it doesn't change for us. It's the same amount of work.
Well, the amount of pressure changes.
Yeah, sure.
Right? You buy it outright, you do it on your own time. Right. When you do it in a consignment, you're doing it within the constraints of a 90-day, 120 days. And we know how fast 3 months or 4 months go by. Yeah, so take, for example, the mantle, right? You believe it's a $40,000 card in the PSA 1.
Yeah, and so when we have to look at all these cards, you have to assume a low grade and be, again, pleasantly surprised instead of massively disappointed. So if the mantle's a 1, might be a little higher, maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2 from what I saw. But if it's a 1, it's a $40,000 card.
I think tomorrow we need to feel out Harlan a little bit, see where he's at. You know, we're assuming a lot of things right now. We don't really know what they're thinking. You know, we could throw out any number we want. I don't even know if we agree on a number yet. I think we're pretty close to maybe somewhere in the $120,000, right into the 6-figure mark. Cash deal, but we don't think they're interested in a cash deal. Yeah. I don't think they're interested in a cash deal.
No.
If he wants us to do something with everything, then that changes the game for us completely.
And what does he want us to grade? Like, what do we think should be graded?
Okay, well, we have a lot to think about tonight in bed. You're tired, I'm tired.
Yeah. We have a long day tomorrow. We'll look at everything, really take some time, go through it, and present to Harlan kind of what we think.
Cool, sounds good.
All right.
I like how we're just walking by signs.
Yeah, it's
that American Pickers would be like.
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure what the obsession with thermometers was, but just any kind of advertising.
I need to give this to one of my daughters. You ain't learning nothing when you're talking.
It's my kids too. This is what we call the museum. My friends always said if the world ever came to an end, they could come here and see how people lived when they were repopulating.
Oh my goodness.
All of these boxes contain trains. We'll come back. We'll do the non-train stuff. These roller coaster toys were my favorite. So all this is mostly toys and little train stuff. And, you know, random Pez dispenser. I think he thought if he collected as much as he could, some of it would become popular, a lot of it became...
Look at these things.
Yeah. And these are all toys were always a big thing. China set. Anything advertising was always big. I worked in a video store for 8 years, so Mama and Vader came from the video store.
Oh, nice.
This is the pinball machine. This is one of our favorites.
Does it turn on?
You know, I don't know. And I'm not sure that one was some kind of game too. I don't remember that one. But then anything with sports or...
Yeah.
Looks like Batman might be back there, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so do you think about a lot of this stuff going to your house eventually? Like, is there certain things in here that are...
There are certain things. My kids had asked for the pinball machine because he asked us before, when we met, before he died. He said, you know, what do you want? What, pick out, you know, I want you to have whatever you want and then, you know, sell what you don't want. But, yeah.
No.
Oh, he loved masks. There's a Beavis mask over there from Beavis.
It's not made for a big head.
You got 2 noses.
You could not have over-exaggerated what was out here.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Cigarette machine, I don't know where it came from. JT wants the giant Bud Light helmet for his.
Oh, there you go.
That was what he called dibs on. But then all this he has divided into categories like tops, and he loves circus trains, and everything you see.
So this is all
in a box is all trains.
Well, it's good to know the train boxes are the same as sports car boxes.
They are, yeah. And I think he would just put them together and then put them in there like long ways.
Oh, gotcha.
Then this was all circus. These ones are all circus. The Ferris wheel is one of my favorites too. Mostly first. He did label everything. I have to give him that. Everything has a typed label.
My face is starting to itch pretty good from that mask.
Yeah.
Try not to scratch it.
And we have the train lamps and paintings. And
you're right, end of world. You guys are set down there.
Yeah, if we go
out here left?
Yeah. This is all.
Oh, it's starting to look like a bookstore now too.
Oh yeah. No, there's Beavis.
The Lord giveth, the government taketh away. Where did he have the time for all
I
this?
have no idea.
Because he obviously spent plenty of time with you guys. He talked about it. Where did he find the time for this?
I have no idea.
His thing was collecting, and just seeing him and just going to yard sales and train shows and toy shows and card shows. I kind of picked up on a lot of that knowledge, you know, through osmosis of just being around it and him telling the different stories. He'd hold up a card and say, you know, this is the #1 card in the 1953 set, and that's the reason it's valuable is because the kids put the gum bands around it and that kind of stuff. He would just tell you, you know, everything he knew. He was a lot like Mike in a lot of ways, honestly, where he just wanted to, you know, spread that. He wanted to infect the next generation of collectors, I think.
That's a real elephant foot?
You can take it down. I have no idea where that came from. It's probably illegal to have.
Yeah.
It's been here for as long as I can remember. It's creepy.
I think there's some health benefits if we grind that up and make a tea out of it or something.
These are all, behind this wall is all 45s.
My goodness.
Those are all albums, yeah. And if you look back in the middle, the sparkly drum set was his when he played drums.
Oh.
The 1966 Charger belonged to my grandfather. He bought it right off the line in 1966, which unfortunately you can't see right now. Someday, I hope to redo it.
I'm Jeremy Macklin here. Mizzou Tiger. Anytime you can find a Mizzou Tiger.
The baseball cards were one thing that I didn't participate in as much as I did the trains and the records. But I know they meant a lot to him, and he thought of it as an investment. John always said that, and I know he told the girls this in later years, and both of us agreed on this, the fun was not in having the collection, be it this or whatever collection. The fun was in finding it and all the things we did to, you know, while we were amassing the collections. That's what we remember. I mean, now, yeah, he wanted all these cards, but in later years it wasn't important to him. It was the memories we had. Like the memories he had of the girls being with him and doing things.
These cards are simply a gateway to memories for us, right?
Exactly, yes.
You know, they remind us of a time. I remember when I got this. I remember what we were doing when I got that. And that's the key. That's the thing that's everlasting. The cards will, you know, come and go, but I'm glad y'all are keeping some of them as a memory to continue to be that gateway to John.
So set aside the cards for a moment. What did you love most about John?
I think that he treated everybody nicely.
My dad probably left with me one of the biggest things in life was just showing respect to others, and you can earn their respect back. And I was a teacher as well, so I guess I took most of that, and I saw the respect that he got, and so that was one of the big things for me.
You know, when he did pass, the The funeral was, you saw how important he was to people. Like there was people lined up out the doors to just come pay their respect. Like, I didn't realize how important and how much of a big guy he was until, you know, that was the eye-opener. Like, a lot of people truly cared about him, and he touched a lot of people.
He definitely taught you, you know, kind of the treat others as you want to be treated, and, you know, treat everybody the same, and just kind of, you know, really taught us the value of things, and just was a really good family man, and a great dad and grandpa.
You know, John Newbrow played a very important role in a lot of people's lives.
I have a question for you guys. If you think about if he stopped in 95 collecting cards or accumulating cards, right? You never stop being a collector if you have cards. Like, you're still a collector, right? But my question is, do you think he knew how much these were worth? Was he keeping up with that? Did he have any idea? Like, would he be surprised if we sat down and went, that's worth this is worth that? Do you think he'd be surprised at that?
He'd be shocked.
I think he would be.
Yeah, because, and we had a little taste of that with the Fleer sets. With, you know, my son going, yeah, they just sold a Michael Jordan PSA 10 for $700,000. And he's like, well, I've got that card out in the garage. And we go out and it's in a tomato box. It's in a box inside of a tomato box on the floor in the garage. He used to say that he was a millionaire because he could walk you through his house and point to 1,000 things worth at least $1,000. And that was, he's like 1,000 times 1,000's a million.
I really wish John was still here, because first of all, I think he and I would have gotten along great. And I would really love to hear some of the stories of where these cards came from, the story behind them, who we bought them from, you name it. It would be so great.
You've worked a lot on this.
Yes, he has.
And I guess it's a question for you too, Kathy. I mean, if you could paint the perfect scenario, what happens from here?
It goes. I mean, we sell it. We get it back out. It really is. So, you know, we have a bunch of collections to deal with, as you've seen. And they're taking up a lot of space in our house. Actually, the ball cards are probably the least bulky of them. But the interest in selling those is that I have some little bit of knowledge here. And they were kind of the easiest thing. And, you know, they went through this little boom cycle here where there's some value obviously gained recently. So our objective is to get them back out into the hobby, whether...
I'd like to see them go to people that appreciate them.
Right.
And that will do like you do, sit here and ooh and ah at a specific card. He never really did that.
He didn't pull them out.
No, he didn't pull them out. They were there, and he was like that with the trains too. He knew they were there, and that's all that was important to him. It was on to the next thing.
Well, to us, this is kind of the tale of two collections. You've got this stuff, and then you've got all this stuff. The bulk, right? Two different things. And we sat up and we worked on this last night because we're like, okay, I thumbed through the binders, but I didn't like really go through the binders, and you all thumbed through the other ones, right? This stuff we were able to go, hey, let's put together a list of some of the cards that we remember, some of the cards we had on film that we were thumbing through and we assumed PSA 1 on everything.
Okay.
What do you think it's worth?
Yeah.
What do you think this is worth?
Just on the
table? On the table.
I don't know. I mean, I know I'm going to guess $200,000 on the table. Is that right?
Pretty close.
Is it?
We were somewhere between 150 and 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
My guess on all of it is somewhere around 500,000. And I don't know if that's right or not, but that's my guess. And that was my guess to her when we started all this. I don't know what some things will grade. I know that sometimes if you get the right grade on a card, it could bump it by $100,000. I don't know that we have any of those because of the condition that most of them are in. But they're all not ones either. So
100%. We had a dilemma, I think.
We did.
Because we're thinking, okay, we can maximize your value.
This is easy for us.
We can take this and make it 300,000. We really believe that.
Okay.
It's the stuff in the binders we're thinking, man, that's going to be a lot of work. A lot. We're not opposed
Did you
to it.
sleeve all these up yourself?
I did.
How long did it take you to do that?
A long time.
Yeah. And this is only one binder is everything on this table.
You're right. I mean, that's work. So my question to you is, how do you want to handle that work? Yeah. Do you want to go through there and pull out the Manels and the Mazes and the Robinsons? Because there's a lot of those that are still in those binders. They're not all pulled, as you know from looking through it last night. And figure out what's graded, and then how do we get
two options?
Okay.
Because they're not. This is not the stuff you just bulk up and send somewhere. This is good enough stuff to where you need to put the time into it. So our thought is we do one of two things. One, we consign all of this really good stuff.
Okay.
Because it's going to take us time. We're going to probably sell it to dealers that we know, guys, and try to keep away from putting it on eBay and things like that.
Okay.
Because a lot of it's going to be $10,000 plus cards.
Right.
Consign this, and if you want us to consign this, we have to increase the percentage on this for the work.
Just the work.
Like add 10% or something so we can cover ourselves all the time, or we just find a way to buy all the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
Come up with a price and say we'll just pay for it, so that way we're not
under a gun. Then we can, because we're going to resell it, but we would do it at our own, at our pace, but give you cash now. And the market is softening. You're seeing that, right? And so it's kind of, this stuff is high priority because we want to still hit it. We have a recession coming, right? If it's not already here. And so, wow, let's get this stuff running. This other stuff is great stuff. It's just a lot of work and to put into it.
Yeah.
Go.
If I was to guess what this stuff would sell for if we pieced it out, 50 to 60,000.
But I mean, there's probably $5,000 Mantle cards in some of that stuff. Yeah. You still think it's only 50 to 60,000 for the rest of it?
We were going back and forth. It's just
we haven't seen everything, right? I mean, I'm not.
So
you've got a ton of $100 bills, $200 bills, $50 bills, right? And those do add up,
right?
But after you grade it, because you have to grade it, and right? Well, you don't have to. I'm just saying. There's value in grading it. You're going to add more than the cost of grading to the value of the end card. It's just time. It's just doing it. It's putting together the submission.
We're happy to do it, but if that's not something you want to do, we thought, well, let's just come up with a cash offer to make it doable for you with this stuff, and then consign this stuff.
The money is to go into a trust. It's not for living expenses. Unless she gets to a point where she needs it or whatever.
But the need is not great right now.
Yeah.
I know how much time it takes to do these things.
Yeah.
But,
no doubt.
Yeah. Well, if time is not an issue,
it's not.
Then consigning all of it, just different fees, is probably the best way to maximize your value.
That's fair.
And it takes the stress off of us a little bit too.
Yeah. So
because we're going to take our time with this, but we're going to try to get it done quick.
Right.
But we also know we're getting rewarded to put the time into it. Right. So over the last few months, we've started to really pick up some steam with our consignment opportunities. And I think a reason for that is there's a lot of fluctuation in the sports card market right now. People we're dealing with, they want to maximize the value of their collections, and one of the best ways of doing that is consigning. And so I'm glad we're able to do that right now. It's we're in the flow of consigning, and we're adding a lot of value to these.
Yeah, and what I think other people are also realizing is how much work goes into selling a collection. And they're like, I may even know about cards, I may not. I don't want to do the hours and hours of work that it takes to make this happen.
I think if we can leave here with knowing the cards you're going to grade and sell, so we know what that is going to be, and then the rest of it you can sell over time.
Which these we want to take with us.
Okay.
We don't want these mailed, I don't think.
No.
Okay.
You don't want them mailed.
We're gonna we're gonna be on us all the time.
So here's another thing we were thinking through.
About that, I figured
these can't get mailed.
Right.
We're gonna actually probably fly these. I'm gonna fly these personally to PSA for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna hand deliver them.
I saw Mike talk about that in a video once, and I'm like, he's got to be crazy.
If you think about the value, what it would cost us to ship it, insure it properly, the plane ticket's the same cost.
Or cheaper, yeah.
Or cheaper.
So game plan would be, let's build a spreadsheet, build 2 boxes of all the stuff that we're taking with us.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff, let's get ready to put on a pallet.
Okay.
We also have some cards we want to buy directly for ourselves.
Okay.
We can do that.
I think we'll put together some personal stacks of some things, and then we can negotiate that individually with you guys.
Sure.
So we got a lot of work to do. Sounds like we got a good game plan. We're all in agreement this will work.
Yeah.
Can we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right.
I've been very impressed with how things have gone.
Interaction with my kids was great. Mike was on the floor flipping through cards and teaching them things. They were learning.
We're in Berkeley Springs trying to actually get something shipped, and we need a pallet. And we're curious if we can somehow get a pallet from your warehouse. So with the pallet, we're gonna load the cards up that are tier 1, and we're gonna ship those up to our warehouse to start getting consigned and inventoried and all that stuff. But this is not stuff you can put in a UPS box and ship. You have to put it on a pallet, shrink wrap it, and do it the right way, or it's just gonna be too economically unfeasible. All right, possibility at Food Lion to go get a pallet today. So maybe we solved our problem for the pallets.
So Ty's going through 61 Fleer basketball. I'm going through 4950 Bowman. We're getting through a lot of these binders, the 100 plus. We're probably 90% done, honestly. So looking through all this stuff, one of the coolest things in John's collection was this Mickey Mantle. And at first glance, you would think exhibits card. Looks just like a traditional exhibits card for Mickey Mantle, but when you turn it over on the back, it's from Dad's Cookies, which is a Canadian cookie company. All of them, actually, you can see down here, are stapled. They have staple marks on them. So they're an automatic PSA 1, but they still go for $10,000 to $15,000.
All right, so as I'm going through these boxes, you know, one thing Harlan mentioned was that John really never got caught up in the conditions of cards, and so don't expect to see really good condition cards. But I disagree. Some of these cards were actually in really good conditions, and the best part is he had so many different eras in basketball that sucked me right into the rabbit hole, and I just couldn't stop looking through and imagining putting some of these cards in my own collection.
This has been just so much fun to sit here. Ty's just mesmerized with the 61 Fleer basketball. He's just having too much fun over there, aren't you, Ty?
Yes, I'm very mesmerized.
It's that. So this would have been a kid would have written to the Babe Ruth fan club or joined the Babe Ruth fan club. Right. And he would have received a cool 8x10, a super cool envelope. God, imagine you're a kid and you get that in the mail and you see that, you're like, oh my gosh, how cool is that?
So we are going through the garage now. We're taking all these binders out, we're pulling them out and just deciding if we want to put it in grade category or pallet category to get back and start consigning. But there's just endless amounts of binders here, and I mean stuff that we're pulling out. I mean, here's a matchbook, you know, covers, just old school early 1900s matchbooks. So like we've seen plenty of Batman cards in our journeys in the 66 Batman set, if it's even in here. They had 3 colors on the Batman emblem, and the black is the highly sought after one. Card number 1 is the Batman rookie. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is incredible. Right stinking there. It just seems like John had really good instincts for collecting. Like the things that he's putting in binders and the things that he has a knack for is really valuable stuff. This is the type of stuff where, I mean, there's guys that are like specialize in this. They specialize in these very unique niches in collectibles, and we don't have that depth. So we have to, if we take them with us, we have to get experts involved to make sure that we're maximizing value for the family. Just the Babe Ruth was supposed to go there. So that's been taken out. But the Queen Elizabeth is a pretty popular card right now if it's in here. Boom. Look at that. Early 50s, 52, 53, whenever this is, Queen Elizabeth. Look and see card. So right now we are inventorying, putting a manifest together for Harlan and family that includes every card on the table, which is basically every card we think is going to be $500 or more graded, with potential grades and raw values.
Great card here, 1951 Bowman, Willie Mays rookie.
One of my favorites.
Card number 305. I think it's a 1.
It's a 1.
You going with a 1?
Yeah.
It's clean, though.
What does this go for? What are we at? 5? We're at a 1.
I got it. Here's the last one. It sold for $5,400. And that one looks better than that, for sure.
What would you,
Are you wanting to buy that?
I'm actually thinking about buying it. I've always wanted the Maze Rookie. What would you sell this for?
$4,000.
You sell for $4,000 to me?
Yeah.
$4,000.
$4,000.
Done.
Thanks, Tom.
Wow, great card. That is awesome.
That is the most impulse buy of all. It's like the grocery store aisle. Willie Mays is sitting there.
The card's been on the table the entire time, and finally, as you get ready to put it in the box, you're like, I think I might want that.
Come on, Willie Mays rookie.
When we were doing these last night, I've gone through here, like this Bob Feller 53 Topps autographed. Really cool card. I collect Hall of Fame autographs on card. So this is a great card for my collection. We looked it up earlier. You know, the last one sold for $240. I'd do $200 on it. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I think so. Then there's just a ton of Leo DeRocher and Red Schoendienst and just some, I mean, great stuff. I'd feel very comfortable giving you $50 for this and not batting an eye. I just want it for my collection. I think it's an interesting pre-war, during the war, right? During World War II,
right?
Topps chewing gum, pre-cards, right. Really.
So with the Feller and the
top certificate
and this
and all that stack, 800.
Like 800?
Yeah.
Even.
Sure. All right. Done.
I really only came up with 2 things that I really, really want. Some of the stuff that's going to grade, I'd probably just say, hey, can I buy this off the, now that it's graded? First is this Pete Maravich rookie. I have one, but it's just iconic and I want another one, so I don't know what you're willing to do on that. I think it'll come back with 4. But my favorite item out of anything I've seen today, outside of some cool signs downstairs, is this root beer poster that I want to put in the man cave that I'm redoing. It's just the sign.
That is a $40,000 sign.
I can't slip anything by you.
Yeah,
Come on,
sorry.
All right, so we're wrapping up here. We've got items that we're taking on the plane with us. We got a whole pallet wrapped up, ready to be shipped back to our warehouse. And we're gonna be taking a lot of these high dollar cards to get graded. And because of the value of a lot of these cards and the stress that I don't wanna deal with losing sleep at night, we're gonna be hand delivering them to get graded. I can't wait for you to see that part of the adventure.
I think John would have loved this whole process up to the point where the cards left on the pallet. I think he might not have been too thrilled by that, but I think he would have really enjoyed talking to the guys and looking at the cards with them and just the camaraderie, because that's one of the things he really liked about the whole collecting thing was the people that he met and the friends he made along the way.
So I'm carrying Mickey Mantle rookie, exhibit Ruths, some big league 33 Gaudy stuff. I've never actually held this much money, sports cards in my hand at one time. Andrew, what's up?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us in today, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem, of course.
Where are you gonna take us? What are we doing
I'm
here?
going to take you to the new dealer lobby. It actually opened last week,
Okay.
and that's where we're taking people in for submissions.
Look forward to it.
It's pretty
Josh,
cool. It's a lot better.
Nice to meet you, Ty. So how does this work? Do we sit
yeah,
here and you guys check
wherever
things?
you want. Yeah, let's see what you got.
I tried to make this as if I was sending it in.
Yeah. So yeah, basically all we're doing is just making sure that this looks right.
Yeah.
They're not giant submissions, so. Oh wow. I never seen this one before.
Wow, okay. So how often are you getting high-end submissions like this?
1 to 2 times a month.
Oh, okay, so it's rarer than I thought.
Yeah.
But all like, it's not always vintage too. Like sometimes they're high-end submissions, but it's nothing. It's all like cards from 2020. Like.
Okay. So high-end vintage is
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot.
Okay. So after this stage, it goes into what? Prep stage, or what's the process
Yeah,
from here?
so after this, we'll take it to receiving, which is basically just entering in all the info and creating now an order number from the submission.
Okay.
After that, it's gonna go to research, which is just confirming that the spec is right, or if we even have the specs. After specs, then it will go to grading. These are awesome.
I think so too.
Where'd you get these ones from, like 1922?
So we got them from a collection in West Virginia where a guy had been buying these for 30, 40 years and then he passed away, and the kids were like, hey, look at these. All right, so we're done. We dropped off our cards. I feel better knowing that the cards are here. I know people that we've been working with in collections, Harlan and crew, their families probably feel better now too. What a great experience. PSA took care of us. Collectors Universe team came around and kind of walked us through the process, and it was a really neat experience, and I'm glad to know that they're in good hands. We might come back and see what these grades are here in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to that.
After a long but eventful 48 hours in Berkeley Springs, we left with a one-of-a-kind collection. But more importantly, we were impacted by a gentleman who treated his sports cards as an opportunity to spark friendships and create opportunities. In a hobby that can sometimes be frustrating, confusing, and even discouraging, hopefully we can learn from John's example and allow sports cards to be a gateway to incredible memories. Keep chasing.